Hello, everybody. I want to give you a lesson on finding averages, okay? And you're going to want to take some notes. All right, so when you are trying to find the average of a set of numbers, step number one is you are going to want to find the sum of those numbers. Okay? Step number two, you are going to then, after you found the sum of the numbers, you're going to divide the sum by the number of add-ins that there were. Okay, and then after you have divided the sum by the number of add-ins, the quotient there is your answer or your average. Okay, so I want to show you what I mean by these steps. So let's take some numbers. Let's say that I have a data set with these numbers: 6, 2, 2, 12, and 3. Okay, step number one tells me to find the sum of those numbers. And when I'm finding the sum, that means I'm going to add them. So 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 12 is 22, and 22 plus 3 is 25. So when I add all of those up, 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 12 is 22. And 22 plus 3 is 25. Okay, I have my sum. Then I'm going to divide my sum by the number of add-ins. Okay, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 add-ins. So I'm going to divide my sum by my number of add-ins, which was 5. And so 25 divided by 5 is 5. Okay, so 5 is my average. Okay, 5 there is my average. I want us to do another example, okay? I'm going to show you, so you're working with temperature data. Let's say that we were working with this bank account data. And let's say that I'm trying to find the seasonal average of my bank account. And since it's fall, let's do the fall months. So if I'm trying to find the seasonal average of my bank account in the fall, I'm going to take my account balance for September, which was $12. October, which is also in the fall, which was $4. And November, which is the month in the fall, which was $1. Okay, so that's my data. Here's my data. We're going to remember that the first thing we do with our data when we're finding an average is to find the sum. So I'm going to add up my seasonal bank account balances. So 12 plus 4 is 16. Okay, and then 16 plus 1 is 17. Okay. Then, now that I have my sum, step number 2 says I'm going to divide the sum, which was 17, by the number of add-ins that there are. I had 1, 2, 3 add-ins. So I'm going to divide 17 by 3. Okay. So 3 will go into 17 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. 17 minus 15 is 2. I know I'm dealing with money, so I can put a decimal and put a 0. I can bring that 0 down, making my 2 a 20. 3 will go into 26 times. 6 times 3 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. I can bring down another 0 to make that 2 a 20. 3 goes into 26 times. 6 times 3 is 18. That equals a 2. And I can tell this is just going to keep going and going. So my average bank account is about $5.66. Okay. So that would be my average. My quotient equals the average. Okay? There's a couple things that I want you to remember because you're working with positive numbers, but you're also going to be working with negative numbers. And all you need to remember when you're calculating the average for negative numbers is that when you add two negative numbers, the sum will also be negative. Okay. And the other thing I want you to remember is this, because we know we have to add the numbers, but we're also going to be dividing negative numbers. So I also want you to remember that when you divide a negative number by a positive number, the quotient will be negative. Okay, so remember those things as you are working on your project. I want to give you a couple of practice problems to do before you go on to the project. So complete these. I'm going to give you 3 different sets of numbers. Well, I'll give you 2. Okay, the first set is this: 197, 201, and 208. Calculate the average. And then the next set that I'm going to give you is 15, 25, 15, 10, 35, and 5. Okay? Oops, can't see that, can you? So calculate the averages for these numbers, okay? And then I want you to turn those into me before you start working on your seasonal average high temperatures, okay? Remember that you can rewatch parts of this video. You can stop the video when you need. Happy average calculating, kids.